we had a slightly unusual conversation with a middle-aged lady who came up in a little bit of a state, and she said, in a rather somewhat accusing manner, she said, "Are you aware? Are you aware that when people see your flags, they get scared?" And I was like, "Excuse me? I'm not aware of that." And she goes, "Some people do get scared when they see those flags." I'm like, "Well, I don't know what there is to be scared of because, one of them is the flag of the country and the other is simply our organization's brand. We're certainly not intending to scare anybody. We've never had anybody coming up to tell us that they're scared of our flags." I said, what do you mean by that?" And she starts going off about how asylum seekers and refugees feel threatened when they see the flags of the country. And I said to her, "Well, I'm not sure that's correct. I doubt that they really are scared by seeing the flags of the country. And it is, if they're asylum seekers and refugees, it is the flag of the country to which they have sought refuge. So why would they be scared of the country's flag if they are literally seeking refuge in that country? There's no reason for them to look on the flag with fear. One would think that if they're seeking refuge here, they would very much look on the flag with favor, with gratefulness, one would have thought. And that didn't actually convince her. So she tried another tact and she said, "Are you aware that these people are escaping great harm?" And I goes, "Well, that's very much a matter for political debate. Not everybody necessarily agrees with that. You've got to be very diplomatic when you're on the street, of course, because you don't want to create any kind of issues on the street." So she then starts being slightly accusatory, saying, "Well, what would you do? What would you do if you were going to be threatened with prison? Surely you'd want to flee somewhere too." And I said, "Well, I mean, if I'm being threatened with prison here in Scotland, I'm not going to flee to another country. It's probably an unfortunate fact for me that I'm going to be going to prison." And so that's not what she wanted to hear. She wanted to hear that I was going to try to run away somewhere. And so she started another tack, which was, "Well, what if they were going to kill you? What would you do then?" And I goes, "Well, one would just have to stand and do one's best to defend oneself and to fight to protect whatever it was that they were trying to presumably take." And she goes, No. If you had to flee somewhere, where would you flee? If they're trying to kill you, where would you flee to?" And I goes, "Well, I mean, if you're putting me on the spot, if I had to flee somewhere, I'd probably flee to Edinburgh." At which point, at which point she goes, "Oh, well, I've got to go. I've got to go. I'm very busy this morning. I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got to go. I've got to go. Goodbye." And I just looked at the other table team members and we were just like, "What?" That's what we're up against.